It's the last hurrah, man. It's all you get. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. He picking on this man. Oh my God. Hey, this dude the GOAT. Hey, he is the GOAT, man. He is the GOAT, man. This is a masterpiece, man. A masterpiece. A masterpiece, man. This is the 12th round, man. Get Bud 12 more. Get Bud 12 more, dog. My Lord. Throw in the towel.
So after Canelo Alvarez suffered his crushing defeat to the undisputed pound-for-pound #1 king, Terence Bud Crawford, the GOAT of this era, Canelo was asked multiple times in different ways, do you want to rematch Crawford next? Since he got your belts, he even got your face. That's right, you guys said Canelo was the face of boxing. Well, now Crawford is the face of boxing. Crawford has everything. He just beat Canelo, where he snatched the face of boxing title from him. However, Canelo shockingly said he's not interested in the Crawford rematch. But the reasons he revealed was shocking, because prior to that, Canelo was stating how Crawford figured him out. He had his number, and he couldn't figure out Crawford's style. So when the fight ended, Crawford, he already knew Canelo like the back of his hand. Bud was on the verge of knocking out the frustrated, tired Canelo. Meanwhile, Canelo, he didn't know what to do. He was confused. He was frustrated to the point Canelo said there were no losers in the fight, because if you made it to that stage, then you are a winner. Sound like a motivational speaker, don't he? Why is that? The reason why is because Canelo was just happy to hear the final bell and not go down. Canelo's moral victory was not to get knocked out by the smaller guy Crawford, the welterweight Crawford. That's why he felt like he won. Now here is exactly what Canelo said about wanting the Crawford rematch. Canelo ended up ending the post-fight press conference and not allowing the translator to translate what he said in Spanish, because he didn't want to. He don't want the public to hear. He doesn't want the rematch with Bud. Check it out.
This was a fight that we haven't seen from you before. We've never seen you have the sustained and prolonged frustration during the fight. Was there a point in time where you figured that this just wasn't going to be my night? And if you did, when did that happen?
No, I never thought that. I always try. All the rounds I try, but you need to accept it, right? Sometimes you cannot go, and I try all the rounds. I never think about that because my gene, so I cannot think in that way. But I try my best tonight.
Champ, in the world of comparisons that we live in right now, if you can compare and contrast the fight between yourself and Floyd Mayweather Jr. and tonight's bout with Terence Bud Crawford, if you can.
No, I think Crawford is way better than Floyd Mayweather.
You're a surefire Hall of Famer, and everyone knows the legend that you are. But today we heard some things from you that we haven't heard in a while. I'm not sure if I understood when you said in English that the body didn't respond as well. We didn't see you put the combos and the rhythm that you do we've been used to seeing from you. What do you think about in the future for something like this? Does that make you think? And does that make you think about maybe some opportunity for rematches against Crawford himself and others. All those things that stay there in the back of your head that you wanted to get rid of.
Como lo dije, no, ahorita lo único que tengo en la cabeza es disfrutar a mi familia, disfrutar a mi hija que acaba de nacer. Después de eso, algunas semanas, 2, 3, 4 semanas, no sé, hablar con mi equipo y ver qué es lo que viene para el futuro. Ahorita lo que quiero es disfrutar porque extrañé mucho a mi familia, así que quiero disfrutar y después seguramente vienen cosas buenas. Agradecidos con todos ustedes por todo el apoyo. Thank you so much for all the support for this event and I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much, okay?
Really, here is my problem with the rematch. I only have one problem, and it's not Canelo. It's the judges. The only way I want to see the rematch is if them judges get in the ring with Crawford so he can beat their ass too for trying to rob him. That's why I told you guys leading up to the fight, the bigger challenge is Crawford not beating Canelo. I knew he could beat Canelo, but Crawford beating the judges too. That's exactly what Crawford did. He beat Canelo, the fans, the commentary, and the judges. The reality is these judges need to be investigated because if Crawford gave up the last round, then we would have had a draw, ladies and gentlemen. They almost got Bud, but he went ultra instinct on the judge's ass. That's why they couldn't rob him. So the biggest obstacle in the rematch is not Canelo. It's obviously the judges. Crawford will be fighting the judges. Might as well change the name of the fight from Crawford versus Canelo to Crawford versus the judges. That's how bad it was. Furthermore, you know Bud is a bad man when you over here scratching your head trying to figure out, is he really a Saiyan like Goku? Or is he Beerus at the moment in time? Because everyone is showing him royal respect, including the opponent he just beat for that, Canelo Alvarez. Canelo is showing Crawford Beerus respect to the point where he don't want no smoke with him anymore. When the last time Goku fought Beerus? Why? When Goku wants to fight everybody, it's because Beerus gave him that Bud ass whooping. For the people that don't know, that Bud ass whooping is the type of ass whooping that you don't want anymore. A lot of fighters went through it, from Canelo to Errol Spence to Porter. Bud has been retiring fighters after he beat them. That's why he told Canelo, people fight me, they never the same. And Canelo liked that bar so much, he had to put copy and paste on it and just repeated what Bud said when that's not true about him. Everybody's the same after Canelo finished with them. Therefore, Crawford took Canelo Alvarez's soul, his spirit, to fight again. Canelo doesn't want any more of that Super Saiyan Bud smoke. He don't want any. He knows for certain Bud is gonna do him worse in the rematch. And I could guarantee you that he will, if not stop him. You heard it right. If Crawford fights Canelo again, there's a huge probability Bud will knock him out, as Bud was on the verge of knocking Canelo out in the first fight. By the end of the fight, Canelo was ready to go. If Bud had one more round, or he turned up on Canelo a round before and didn't allow Canelo antics to fool him that Canelo was actually there more than he was. Canelo was frustrated, Canelo was tired, and Canelo was ready to go. He was hurt, he was there for the taking. What do you think Bud gonna do to him in the rematch after already having the blueprint on Canelo? That's why Canelo doesn't want to do the rematch with Bud. Remember when Bud knocked out Shawn Porter after everyone was accusing Crawford of ducking Shawn Porter, and they even picked Shawn Porter to beat Crawford because of the styles? Well, I told you guys back then, the real reason why Kenny Porter saved Shawn Porter from Crawford after dropping him the second time is because he knows his son, and he knows Crawford, and he knew Crawford had Porter number by that point, and he was about to finish him since Crawford has the killer instinct. We never seen Sean Porter get dropped back to back. He gets dropped, he gets back up and starts winning again. But not with Crawford, because Crawford has the killer instinct, and that's why his dad saved him. And you best believe Eddie Reynoso will save Canelo. Eddie Hearn will save Canelo. They're going to discourage him from fighting Crawford again, even if Canelo wanted to. But Canelo is already ahead of the curve. He doesn't even want the Bud rematch. The same reaction Errol Spence had when Crawford knocked out Porter, when he said, ooh, he thought the camera wasn't on him, and then he tried to play it cool, right? That same reaction, Canelo had that same reaction when he saw, not Crawford beat Spence, but when he saw Crawford beat his ass and go Super Saiyan on his ass. He looked at Crawford like, damn, he is truly a Saiyan. That's not a myth. Crawford is the legendary Super Saiyan that everyone has been rumbling about. That's what Canelo realized at this moment in time. I wanted to bring this to light to emphasize and document the fact that Canelo doesn't want the rematch with Crawford, so he doesn't play them same games that he did with old media when it came to Floyd and Bivol. Remember, when Canelo lost to Floyd, he didn't want the rematch. He said Floyd is the better fighter, and he never requested a rematch with Floyd ever again. It wasn't until 4 years later, 2 years after Floyd Mayweather retired, Canelo started calling out Floyd Mayweather for a rematch when Canelo was already at 160. I kid you not, making all these excuses. I was too young, inexperienced, with 43 fights, being a unified champ after beating Trout. At that time, Canelo was already an 8-year pro. That's why Floyd Mayweather came out to clear the air back then, saying, man, Canelo was my easiest fight. He never asked for a rematch when I was active. That never came to my desk. How come he's asking for it after I retired and he's multiple weight divisions above me now? That doesn't make sense. Floyd didn't mind smoking on Canelo again, but it was Canelo who didn't want the rematch, while pretending that he did. Well, we're not going to allow anybody to do any more pretending, because when Canelo lost to Bivol, he was still running with the narrative he only lost to Floyd because he was inexperienced. And then when he fought Bivol, he blamed that loss on moving up to his 4th weight class, even though he already won against Kovalev before in that same division. But the funny part about it all is that Bivol came to Canelo and told him, look, if you want the rematch, I'm willing to actually go down to 168, your own division that you claim you unbeatable at, and fight you there. And it was Canelo Alvarez who turned down the rematch. Canelo even had a rematch clause with Bivol, and he still turned it down. Canelo and old media ran with the excuse that Canelo Alvarez was 1 division smaller than Bivol. That's why he lost. Ironically, Crawford was 3 divisions smaller than Canelo, and he moved up to where Canelo had been campaigning for 7 years as the undisputed champion, right? And Crawford beat him, smoked him. Crawford's power level was felt all around the globe when he went Super Saiyan on Canelo ass. We realized we have a Saiyan on earth. His name is Terence Bud Crawford. Shame on old media for burying that news all along when I have been telling you guys so. Well, if Canelo wants the rematch with Bud, Turkey is right there. He will make it happen. But Canelo doesn't want the rematch with Bud. So if Bud retires, I don't want to hear Canelo come back with, if there was a rematch with Bud, I think I could have had gotten the best of him. I want to fight Crawford again. No. You're not going to do the same thing you did with Floyd to Bud. If you want the rematch is on the table. Bud is still here. Turkey is here. And if Canelo won it, most likely it will happen. But Canelo doesn't want the rematch. It terrifies him, the idea of facing the legendary Super Saiyan Terence Bud Crawford again. Can you blame him? I don't, but I don't want to hear no pretending. Just like Canelo didn't want to rematch Floyd or Bivol, he doesn't want to rematch Crawford. And that's the end of this story. Let's hope Canelo fights Benavidez in the future to at least redeem himself. With that being said, go ahead and drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you guys want to see the rematch again? I know all the Canelo fans don't. I know Canelo, he doesn't want it the most. But even though I don't see any reason to see a rematch, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind seeing Crawford stop Canelo the second go around, if that's gonna stop you guys from making excuses in the future. I wouldn't mind, but I know the lead up to it, the fight and the aftermath, will be a living nightmare for Canelo fans and, more importantly, Canelo himself and old media. Subscribe below and to be continued on the next episode of Akhi, TV. Peace out. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.